skip ahead here to the Foster site. Many of you have taken classes here that deal with the history of the Foster site. Ian Grandison teaches a wonderful course in which he looks at the relationship of this free black community, sort of how it's oriented, hidden from the university. But it was really almost and if you think of Monticello and the way the architecture works, you have the big house and then the dependencies. Canada, or the Foster home site, which is across JPA now, part of the South Lawn project, was almost part of the dependencies of the university. It was a free black community, many of whom labored for the university. Kitty Foster, whose home was located there, was a seamstress, and her story was really uncovered through research by students. The archaeological work that was done there, the initial archaeological work, was led by Drake Patton. She was a PhD candidate in anthropology. And at that time, they had only discovered 12 grave sites. Since, there's been more archaeological investigation revealing 20 additional grave sites, and we no longer think of this as a cemetery it was only for members of the Foster family. We now believe that it was a communal burial site for the entire Canada neighborhood. That is research that came from students working with others as well. And then finally, the Morgan Farm Project, which is the project I'm working on this semester. The university was given an 8,000-acre gift by John Kluge, and to date there are about 3,000 acres left, and these are really being conserved for research purposes. And one of the efforts is to really interpret this landscape. It is really a blank slate. There is no memory attached to that site now. People simply see it as a rural landscape. We are trying to tell the story of the African American presence on that property from the earliest days. And I have several students who are probably in the room here today who are taking part in that class and using all sorts of research sources that will help tell that story: deeds, maps of property, personal property, tax records, family papers, census data, including also this image here is a lost property list. This is a list compiled after the Civil War of slaves, Negroes, or slaves, and other property lost, emancipated, or taken during the War of 1861-65. These were prepared by slaveholders, and I learned this from Professor Jordan, after the war because they thought they might be compensated for their losses. And so they created these lists. They're really fascinating. They're revealing because they had last names. Before the war, lists like this would not have included last names. We have a will from 1853 with only first names. And we have this document from after the war with first names and last names. We put those together and really begin to understand who lived and labored in that war. Thank you.